Hello everyone, this video will be about Module 8. This module is the halfway point of the semester, and it also is the second module where you will be working on the annotated bibliography. So if you remember in the last module, you got some information about our big research paper for the class and some more information about evaluating sources. Now you're going to take that information and you're going to start to find sources about your topic and then create what's called an annotated bibliography in order to explore the sources that will be about your topic. So I will just kind of give you an overview. We're also at the halfway point of the semester, so you have some midterm stuff that you'll be completing as well. So you can see that our main assignment here is our annotated bibliography. This one, it has quite a few points attached to it because it does take a little bit longer to complete. So you will devote most of your week to this assignment, and it sort of takes the place of another essay in the class so that you guys don't have to have, you know, an additional essay assignment. It's long enough that we can kind of count it as an essay. So the criteria for the assignment, you actually were able to see this in the previous unit, but it's back here again, so that just as a reminder what you're doing. So an annotated bibliography is a works cited page essentially with paragraphs in it. If you think of this like an essay, you will confuse yourself and then you'll do it wrong. It is not an essay assignment. Okay, it's not an essay. It will not look like an essay when you're done. It is a works cited page with paragraphs in it. That's the easiest way to think about it. The only thing it has in common with an essay is an introduction paragraph. However, the introduction is not intended to be like an essay introduction. It should just be kind of an overview of the topic. So, you can use first person if you want to. And there's, I don't know if there's an example in the book of the introduction itself, but I'll try to get an introduction in there as an example. There's plenty of examples of an annotated bibliography, and we've got some from the book as well, which I'll show you more in a minute. So once you got that introductory paragraph done, then you have at least 12 sources that you'll include about your topic. These are sources that could potentially be used in your research paper. That does not mean that you have to use them. And so obviously you have not written the paper yet. So these are all just planned ideas for your research paper. Sometimes you want to go broad. You want to be thinking in broad terms so that you can narrow down. It's much easier to work that way than the other way around. So it's okay if you get to writing your research paper and realizing, oh, I actually don't have a source about this. I need to go find another one. But that source wasn't on your annotated bibliography. That's okay. The point is we've got 12 sources here. And 8 sources need to be used for your research paper. And so you've got now 12 sources that you've already looked through that could potentially be used. So just kind of keep that in mind. The other thing is I want you to make sure that you have some variety in your sources. Pretty much all your sources will be electronic, but if you have the chance to go to a library and pick up a physical book, I highly recommend that. Ebooks count as well, but looking for book sources, looking just past like using those basic database sources is a good idea. YouTube videos, usually most topics you can find documentaries about them, but you can also think beyond that. And so, if you're writing about vampires or something, you would have the book Dracula, or maybe a movie version. I think they're doing, actually, that wouldn't help you very much, but there's a new movie in Nosferatu coming out, or like Twilight or something. So you would have plenty of different options that are just different forms of media, as opposed to just looking at like journal articles or websites, which is where students tend to gravitate initially, is because they just Google it and then they start clicking on websites and things like that. Each annotation, so you have 12 sources and each source gets one annotation, The annotation is the works cited entry, so this will be an MLA style works cited entry, and then underneath it will be one paragraph where you write a summary and evaluation of the source. So we learned about evaluating sources in the previous unit. And so what I'm expecting in this paragraph is tell me what the source is about and tell me whether or not it's credible. And the credibility needs to use terms that we learned about in the previous unit. So you can use that CRAP test. That's really easy to go back and look at because I have that PDF in there. But you know, the currency, the relevance, the authority, the accuracy, and the purpose, I want those terms being used. So you could say this source is current or this source is not current, and then whether or not that affects the credibility of the source. So if it's a psychology topic, if it's about autism or something, you would want the most current version of you would want the most current research that's been done. But if it's World War II, it doesn't really matter whether it was written, you know, this year or 20 years ago, because you know, a lot of stuff in history, we may understand things a little bit better. We may find new things to understand it a little bit better. But for the most part, you know, what's happened in the past didn't change. So it doesn't really matter when that was published. You might also be thinking about some of the other issues that we have with sources. So, you know, where was it published? Who published it? What credibility does the author have? We've been discussing this all semester, way back with the first essay when you did a rhetorical analysis. All of that is relevant when we put it together in an annotation. So the example in the book, so I'm in here in the new Harbor Race Guide, there's a whole preparing an annotated bibliography page, and so it just gives you some ideas of like what you should include, summarizing in 2 to 3 sentences, and then explaining usefulness and evaluating. And it kind of gives you a longer, what it would look like if it's longer. It divides it out into like summary versus evaluation. It's sort of a shorter version. You guys can do just one paragraph if you want to, about 5 to 8 sentences. So 2 to 3 summary, and then, you know, 2 to 3 evaluation, and then that'll be a full paragraph that you need. So that's what I'm expecting out of this assignment. So you're going to do that for your 12 sources. It does take a little while to complete, so just keep that in mind. You're going to spend most of the week collecting sources and writing about them if you haven't started already. So most of what's left in this unit is stuff like how to use the database sources, which you probably already know, but this is, you know, just more information on how to search through a database. The link to the library database is you can search the whole thing. So, you know, if your topic is dinosaurs, which I think most of my examples are dinosaurs, then you can search the entire collection at the Allen Library. It will bring up everything that that the library has. However, you might not want everything, because if you're not at the library, you're not near the library, you can't go pick up a book. So in which case you want to limit to full text. So that you make sure that you can access everything. And then when you click on something, then you can actually use, it'll make you sign in. And then once you sign in, you will have access to the citation. It creates the citation for you, and then you can copy and paste it into your annotated bibliography. So that's really nice. The citation button's up here, and then you want to make sure that you change it to MLA 9th edition, and you can copy and paste. Most of them are pretty accurate. So I've got a bunch of other links in here. This is just the website to the library that you can click on there. And then there's the actual annotated bibliography. I do grade it like an essay, so it's got a rubric, and I go through and I leave feedback, but it is not an essay assignment. And then the last thing in here is a midpoint reflection. So this is just a mid-semester. How are you doing with your goals? Have you met them? Do you need help with anything, etc.? And so you're going to reflect on the semester so far, and then you have the option to take the midpoint survey. It's anonymous for 5 points extra credit. So that is the unit. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Otherwise, have a great week.